Hello, everyone, and welcome to your best real day. I'm your co host, Elizabeth Navarrete, along here with my co host and extraordinary real estate wholesaler, Charles Nguyen. And we are super excited today. We have a very special guest tuning in all the way from Washington, D.C. He is our rising star and will also be a speaker at our WholeSCALING live event here in Houston, Texas on October 4, 5, and 6. And we want to welcome you, Antoine. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
We're super excited. We're really excited because you are a rising star. And many of you may be wondering, what does that mean, rising star, right? So we decided to bring on somebody that's newer to the industry, but that's absolutely just doing phenomenal work and is just blowing it up. And we're super proud of you. And we're really excited to have you on our lineup and meet you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to having you come out and share with the audience kind of what you're doing with virtual assistants, because I think you're running a lot of your operations with the virtual assistants, which we'll probably call VAs going forward. So if people hear us use the term VAs, that's what that means. So maybe Antoine, can you talk a little bit about how you got into real estate and your first deal?
Yeah, so how I got into real estate was I was hanging around my grandparent back in like 1990, between 96 and 2004. I used to work for him, and we did a lot of renovation work for other investors. At the time, I didn't have no clue they was investors. We did demolition, we did foundation repair, we pulled slabs for them, we pulled footers. So at the time, my grandfather was making a lot of money, and I think he was making between like $10,000 to like $40,000 per house that we did. And I said, Granddad, if this guy willing to pay you, how much is he really making? And then once I really started sitting back watching, I got like really excited. And then, being a kid that used to stay up at night, I started looking at infomercials. I seen like these cartoon sheets commercials, and I seen these people on the beach looking cool. I'm like, hey man, I got to do this real estate thing. And ever since then, I just been intrigued.
I love that
And
you.
about my first deal, I did my first deal with a friend of mine, a good friend, actually my brand manager now, Corey. And I had a business before real estate. And he came to me like, hey, bro, I got this deal I'm wholesaling. I'm like, what in the world is wholesaling? I didn't know what he was talking about. Well, the only issue is I'm going to make some money, but I need $2,500 from you to pay the sellers to move out. So I wrote him a check for $2,500. And Dad put me in a deal, and I think when I wrote him a check, I think I got back like $8,500 when it was all said and done.
That's amazing. I love how you, as a young man, had that inquisitive mind and wanted to know more about it and ask your grandfather, what is it that these people are making after that's all said and done, right? So I love how
Yeah.
that pretty much sparked it, and how your grandfather taught you the way, and you made your first deal happen. So from your first deal to, let's fast forward a little bit. How long ago was this? Was this actually the 2 years ago when you started, or was it further
Yeah,
back?
actually, I did the first deal in like the beginning of 2016.
Okay.
So at the time, I didn't know that was my first deal until I got the check back. And then, so me, my mindset is, hey, if you get somebody some money, be prepared that if they can't pay you back, it won't hurt you financially. So when I wrote them a check, I said to myself, I might not get it back. But when I seen the check come back, I said, oh, this real estate stuff really works. And I was real excited about it. So yeah, moving forward, we've done many deals after that, and that first deal kind of humbled me because I knew right then and there it's a business that you can actually make money. It's not a 30 anymore, and that's the number one thing I think a lot of new people don't get until they close their first deal. That it's still a 30 to them until they see a check and a wire in hand. It's all a 30.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love what you said about how, you wrote a check and you weren't sure if you were going to get it back or not, and you were okay with that. Can I ask you, how long were you doing construction with your grandfather before you came to the realization that you can actually make money on the other side?
Probably about a year into it. When I seen this one guy, Mr. Dennis, slip up and say, hey, these condos that you guys working on, he was talking to another guy, but we were standing right there as if we wasn't there. Hey man, I'm going to sell these for 1.8 million a piece. And he had like 7 of them. This is back in 2002, before DC even got hacked. And, before DC is what it is today, as everyone knows. And I was scratching my head like, hold on. So we want to start going up to some other properties he had. He was like one of the top guys. It was beyond crazy. And I started really paying attention and watching him to the point that I started going past his office without my grandfather and asking questions. And he would give me a lot of advice. And his office was in Bethesda, a relative prestigious area in Montgomery County, Maryland. That's where a lot of people get headquartered at who makes great money. And he started educating me. And I knew right then and there, no matter what I went at in life, because I went to multiple different jobs after I graduated school, but I always had real estate as a number one priority. Whenever I get back around to being able to do real estate, I made it my point to try to do it. So that's how, and back in 2016, 17, I really got focused on real estate. I want to make this a part of my life.
Wow, yeah. No, that's amazing because a lot of times we see people who are in the real estate industry but not necessarily on the investing side. They're providing the services, but it doesn't click to them sometimes to go ahead and be an entrepreneur and maybe do it for yourself. So kudos to you for doing that.
So now, Antoine, from 2016 to present day, how have you evolved, and what do your present day operations look like?
Yeah, so at first, it just started off. When I first started out, I wanted to be a real estate developer / commercial investor, and then I realized, like, as me and my wife starting to look at $8, $9, $10 million deals, like, hold on, we need money here. So I told my wife, okay, well, let's put this commercial thing on pause and let's go to what we call the basement, which is residential, and really work our way up and build our way up. And then once we started really focusing on residential, we got good at it. We actually started all fixing and flipping before we even thought about wholesaling. But then as we fix and flip, we wasn't happy and complacent with the quality of deals that people was presenting to us. So then we got into, generating our own deals in-house internally. And that's when, us becoming wholesalers evolved because eventually we just stopped cherry picking which deals we want to keep, and we just, dispose of the deals that we didn't want to keep.
Yeah, and how did you start with that? Did you have someone that was mentoring you, or did you just go bold and just start it and figure it out along the way, as most people do?
Honestly, my first business taught me a ton of stuff. So to this day, I never really paid anybody to mentor me or invest in anything. I think the closest I got to mentoring was I bought a Jalen White course. They gave me a synopsis of what I need to be doing as a virtual wholesaler. But outside of that, it was straight YouTube and studying and reading and just, applying common sense practices to business. And I say 2017, we did our first deal in 2016, Father Fix and Flip. We did it. It took us a year to get it done. We sold it. We got out of it alive, made some money. But man, that right there was like the world's greatest mastermind because we made so many mistakes. I think we paid for everything twice to get fixed.
Wow.
But it taught us a lot. It taught us how to create systems and checks and balances and processes to the point that now I think we're currently doing 6 renovations. We closed on another one Friday. So we have 7 renovations under management currently. And it really helped us. It really helped us learn how to screen contractors, screen people, do our paperwork right. Even look at the lenders funny. Like, okay, why are you charging me these points? Why, what's this clause mean in this contract? And really get down to business. And that's what helped us evolve to that point. But I say from the end of 2017, I looked at my wife and said, it got to be a better way. So 2017, I really just focused on the other deal. But when 2018 came around, July 2018, I looked at her and said, listen, we still had another business at the same time trying to do real estate. I said, listen, if you give me 1 year, please give me 1 year, and I promise I'm going to make the best of this whole real estate thing. And, she allowed me to go into our savings and just take it and invest it basically back into a new operation because we tore down the walls of the business that we currently had and rebuild it. And what you see is the finished product today of that rebuilding process.
Wow, that's some serious love if she's going to let you tap into that bank account, right?
Yeah.
So she's a keeper then.
Yeah, definitely. She actually our 9-year anniversary comes up September. So.
Congratulations.
Great. Congratulations. I love how you made emphasis how she allowed me to do this for a year, and with her support and her blessing, look how far you've come now within a year. So
Definitely.
fast forward to this year, presently, where are you at? So I know that you run your business purely on VAs. So how did that process begin, and how was that the growth of that? Because that's tough. Did you start with local people, or did you straight up go overseas? How did that process look like?
So I knew that we needed multiple people, and I couldn't be everybody in the operation out the jump because of my first business. I did have people working for me, so I do have experience managing people. So when I looked at the type of people we needed, I said to myself, it didn't make sense to try to pay someone $8 to $13 an hour here locally, and their morale won't be as great, and then they might look for a better opportunity and quit on you. Then I learned about the VAs, and I seen how we can leverage the value of the dollar, and that the value of the dollar, it takes you a long way overseas. I said, okay, well, I'm able to scale even faster at a faster velocity without having to spend 10, 15K a month payroll. We kind of scaled that back down to, I think, a third of that, if that. And that allowed us to really start hiring out fast and aggressive as possible.
That's fantastic. I was listening to a podcast that you did with one of our colleagues. I don't know if it was with RJ or with Steve Trang, that you were saying about how you were interviewing the first person, I believe, that you onboarded. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah. So I think I was talking to RJ. I did a few podcasts now, but I think I was talking to RJ about it. And I was telling him how we literally got to interview 40 VAs just to find that one good, sweet VA. And it's a very hard process, but we took the key principles I learned from working for McDonald's and Marriott International and really transferred it over to our business, and that's what helped us get to that top level. We started off with her as our first person, and then we literally for 3 months built our systems, and we didn't get much results. I ain't gonna lie, we didn't get a lot of results, but what we did was create an actual functional company that had a process for everything that needed to be done. And that's the number one advice I give to anybody. Don't worry about the end result right now. Set everything up first to the point. Once you start getting busy, you have a process and a system and an answer for the things that come instead of trying to figure out as you go along. And that right there saved us a ton of money because we automatically knew exactly what we needed from each person that we hired going forward. So after we had that first person, I got aggressive and had 2 more people after that. And then once I had that third person, I ended up having 4 people. So we literally took off in 4 to 5 months span, just aggressively hiring people, just because we knew that we can't put all the pressure on one person. He'll burn a person out really quickly.
You're absolutely right. Going back to, what was it? World's best mastermind, or world's greatest mastermind. I wanted to make emphasis on that. What you said earlier about that flip that took you a year. World's greatest mastermind.
Yeah.
That's sweet, right? And so now moving to where you're doing now, you learned that's another world's greatest mastermind, is how to hire and take things as you go, progress, right? Because we hear a lot where, especially people that are starting or wanting to scale up their business, they think that they have to have it all figured out or have all their everything lined up in a row, and that it's not always going to be like that. Yes, if you create a system and you map down your process, that will definitely help, but you can't wait till it's all lined up. If not, you're never going to take off.
Right. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to highlight a couple things you had said as well. Is I think you had said you interviewed 40 VAs before you hired the first one, right?
Yeah. We still do that. I think every day we interview about between 10 and 14 VAs, and maybe one make the cut, if that.
Yeah. So I wanted to highlight that because, you went over it quickly, but I want folks out there to understand that, even if you are hiring them yourself or you're going through a service, it's okay to say, no, they're not good enough for my business. So then, just constantly go look for more people if you need to.
You just got to know how to answer the right question. I tell people, man, hire slowly but fire fast, because at the end of the day, they can become a bottleneck in your business, especially if they're not doing the right things out the gate.
I know, absolutely. So can you describe a little bit about what all of your VAs are actually doing? Are they also doing, a question for me is, that I want to know is, are they negotiating deals for you as well?
Oh yeah, so instantly, like I got on phones and cold call for a little while, and I tell everybody that's not my strength. And one thing I learned is you take your strengths and you double down on what your strengths are, but your weakness you instantly create a process in the system and give it to someone that could be better than you. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and do a position that you're never gonna be great at, or you might wait 5 6 months of your life before you say, okay, let me go ahead and hire somebody. So I decided to hire a cold caller, and that started going great because that was her experience. She cold called for 6 years, and she probably could do it better than me. It's not that the fact that I didn't want to cold call. It's just that wasn't my strength. I identified it fast. So in my operation is 5 people work for me. 6 people work for me directly. We have what we call Janice. She's my lead VA. She's soon to be going to be the COO of the company. I'm going to promote her because let's get this out the way. And most people think that just because you pay somebody $4 an hour, they're not competent enough to do high level stuff. You gotta understand these VAs. Some of my VAs got college degrees. Some of my VAs went to school. Some of my VAs are very smart. Janice used to be an ex-manager of one of the top outsourcing companies in the world. And she just decided that she wanted to scale back on actually going to the office every day, and she wanted to work from home because she had kids. So that's rule number one: finding somebody that want a different opportunity. And we found Janice, and she really stepped in and stepped up and helped the entire operation. All she does is provide value. So she's the high level person. Then we have Net. She helps out with the cold calling. She helps out with admin related tasks, and as well as she does our in-house skip tracing. So when we hire people, we look for more than one strong point. So we always try to find somebody, yes, is great at cold calling, but what else could you do during the downtime? Because my philosophy is I don't want you on the phone no more than 3 to 4 hours because it's mentally exhausting and the quality of the call is going to start slacking. Then we turn around and we hire Darlene. Darlene is another cold caller, and she's she helps me with project management for my rehabs. So she's the one that call the contractor, hey, we need your W-9 form. She's the one that sends out the contract work. She's the one that collect the bid. She's the one that go into the Home Depot app to reconcile all the receipts and all that good stuff. She's a real valuable piece to my operation as well. And then we had Jasmine back in January. Jasmine is our acquisition manager. We trained her for about almost 2 months of paid training before she took one acquisition call. We put her through every system that we can think of that made sense, from Cardone University to John Martinez to we put her in an NLP class. We put her through the ringer and got her to become a shop on the phone. So she actually negotiates the deals, sends out the contract to the title company, sends out the contract to the sellers, get the contract back, and then lately she's been helping with dispositions. So she's the one that cold call cash buyers, email blast things out, and then make sure the cash buyer put the EMD in escrow, and as well as verify with the title company that the EMD did actually clear before we even send over the assignment to the buyer. And then we just had our last hire with Virginia. We just hired about 2 weeks ago, and she's going to be our disposition manager, just because there's a lot of weight on Jasmine's shoulders because she's acting as 2 people. And she's currently still in training. She's been training for 2.5 weeks, and she might got another month and a half to go.
Wow. So if I heard it correctly, then about the only part of your business that a VA is not running is probably marketing. Although they're doing cold calling, but like maybe determining which lists to hit and whatnot, and who's doing transaction coordinating.
Yeah, so Jasmine is acting as that too. So
okay.
That's why we got Regina in. But the VAs take care of the marketing. They know how to work camp. They manage all my Facebook pages. They help me post in groups. They basically help me with everything when it comes to marketing. They manage the websites. They're the ones that manage the current account to make sure when we do get deals, they put it on the sites and we blast it out to the right people. So they really steps up and help us.
Wow. So let me rephrase my question slightly then. What part of your business is a VA not actually doing?
Currently, everything. Like we don't like I set my operation up to be, I told myself, once I realized that, hey, these guys can actually be great, I said, okay, let's take it to the next level and do stuff that people going against and really prove to everybody it can be done. And I said, I want my entire business to be virtual. So next year, once we start building out our portfolio and stuff like that, I'm going to start hiring virtual accountants, all types of stuff, because it's a bunch of smart people around the world whose the value of money is way less than the U.S. dollar. So why are we not leveraging it? I don't know.
Wow.
You're super smart. And I am so I'm loving what I'm hearing because you thought it out intelligently. You are running your business so intelligently. You're working smart, not hard. And I love that. And you're leveraging what you said, the power of the dollar, and also just all these professionals that you've found overseas, how valuable they are to your business and how you're growing. So I can't even imagine what's going to happen in the next year, 2 or 3 years for you. Where is Antoine Campbell going from here? Because you're already at
So
the top. So where else is there to go?
I'm not at the top because I don't own a hotel. I don't own a multi-family portfolio. So I tell myself that. So I always try to eat a slice of humble pie every day. But 2019, what you saying in 2019 is preparation that we did in 2018. So all we did was when 2019 came around, we just executed the game plan. So like now in 2020, we already know where we need to go and what we need to do and the steps that it takes. All it is execution after that. So I think a lot of people, they wait till they get to the end, they want to figure it out, and they get lost because they're all over the place. But when you discipline and you really sit back and study what you're up against, what you got to accomplish, to other people, it looks like you know what you're doing is easy, but it's just a whole bunch of background work that we do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the onboarding process, I know how painful that is, whether it's virtually or or locally. Locally, for me, it has been a huge challenge. And so I can imagine with the virtual with the VAs that you have, I mean, that's a lot of work where you're doing is hiring one and interviewing 30 others to onboard one. So that is a lot of work. So I commend you for everything that you've done.
Yeah,
and
but
assisting-
now, see, my VAs, they train up to the point they're real high level. So the current 5-6 people I got now, they actually do the interviews for the VA. I don't actually get involved into the last step, when the last phase of the interview, when it's time to say, yes. But most of the time, once they make it through all them steps, they almost hire. I just want to, hear them talk and just ask some questions that make them talk in circles, just to see, can they articulate, can they put their sentences together, are they saying on the phone, and they stuttering, like I just want to hear that, and then we stamp them and say, okay, they good, bring them on.
That's amazing. So when you're doing that, what is your process looking at for onboarding? Are you testing your VAs? Like, are you giving them like a PI test or a DISC personality?
Yeah. So we do a DISC test.
Okay.
Once we do the DISC test, the most important thing that we do, besides the DISC test, is we ask for a data test. So we want to see how fast the internet connection is going. So we send them to a website and say, okay, let your computer run this data test. Because the number one thing that everybody faces is a VA saying, hey, I couldn't work today because my internet was down. Hey, I couldn't work today because of power. So we look at their areas that they live in and we say, okay, well, this ain't too rural. This ain't like a place where the Philippine power plant don't really take care. I don't think we should hire her because it's going to be a constant problem with attendance. And we look at all types of stuff like that.
That's a great point.
That's brilliant, actually.
Yes.
That's the first time I've heard somebody say that.
Me
is
too.
Have them run a data test.
Yes. I'm thinking, okay,
gotcha.
data, what kind? And when you're saying that, the speed, I mean, that's key.
And then once we hire them, we still do random tests. Hey, I need you to send me a data test, just randomly, because sometimes they might be at their cousin's house using the internet. Then when they get hired, they go back home.
Exactly.
That's
wow.
brilliant. I love it.
So smart. I'm taking notes. That's a good one. That's right. Like Charles, I've never heard that before. Someone say that before. So
definitely.
That's good.
All right. Well, I know, Antoine, we're definitely looking forward to having you at the WholeSCALING Live in October 4th, 5th, and 6th. But one question we definitely want to ask all of our guests is, the name of the podcast is Best Real Day. So, I mean, you've got your things in order, and it sounds like you've got a plan to move forward. So let's just fast forward a little bit, whatever it's going to take you into this year or maybe beginning of next year, when you have everything completely on autopilot and running and gunning, and money's no object and time is your friend. You can do anything you want. What's your best real day actually look like?
My real day probably like just a day-to-day or just
if everything, you didn't have to worry about a thing, what's your best real day look like to you?
Just spending time with my family, man. If I can spend more time with my kids and be more intimate with my wife, hey, mission completed.
No, absolutely. Okay. And is there anything Elizabeth, myself, or any of our guests can do to help you get to that best real day?
just continue to support me, support the movement, and I try my best to anybody I come across provide value, nothing but value. So hopefully that'll give me more doors.
Okay, appreciate it. Well, and how do people reach out to you and get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I'm not really on Instagram, but we are on Instagram because I don't know how to work it. To be honest, Instagram's CEO929. So if anybody inbox me, I'll inbox you back. Don't feel bad. I just don't be on Instagram, but I do live on Facebook. Facebook is Antoine M. Campbell Sr.
You also have a group on Facebook. Which group should we follow or
Yeah,
look
I have a
for?
group on Facebook called Virtual Assistants Hacks and Secrets, and it's really hacks and secrets we give out. So join that group, and hopefully we come of value to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Antoine. And we wish you the best, and may you always stay blessed and have a lot of prosperity and success in your business.
Thank you. Appreciate you
We'll
guys.
see you in October.
See you in October, buddy.
See you in October.